check us out at Midwest Gaming Classic April 4th through 6th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And check us out at C2E2 April 11th to the 13th in Chicago, Illinois. Hope to see you there. Characters of a C- internet review show. You have been summoned here to answer the question of how to review what has been reviewed a million times over.
I'm Jim.
Bring forth the ring. Dope.
Righto!
Why'd I give that to you anyway?
My name is the closest to Frodo.
Oh, yeah.
One does not simply review the Lord of the Rings movies.
Or make that gesture with your hand, because he didn't do that when he delivered the line in the movie.
There are years of people dissecting every little moment, every little detail, every single letter not in the book.
But Rings of Power made some changes, and that won everybody over. That didn't win everybody over, did it?
As much as the Gollum game.
He's right. We cannot review it.
You have only one choice.
Wait, why was the camera tracking in on me like that?
We shot like 80 hours of footage. Feel lucky that our lines are even in order.
Agreed. Sometimes we basically edit to the same shot. See?
We have to figure out how to review this in a unique way.
What about satirizing the movie? Nobody's ever done that.
Do you watch anything?
Nope.
How about a clipless review?
Yeah, that'll work out great with Mr. Chronic Fatigue over here.
Almond milk.
We can't have just a straightforward review. We need to do something unique.
And I suppose you think you're the one to do it!
I'm out of coffee, and that makes me angry.
In the last shot I was standing, so why am I standing again?
I hope you're seriously considering
I'll do it! I'll review the movie!
No, absolutely not.
That's stupid.
Sit down, you embarrassment.
Ooh, my mother's last words to me.
Look, everyone's done a parody and satire of the Lord of the Rings, including us.
Yeah, maybe just talking straightforward about it makes the most sense.
Yeah, but it's gonna be tricky. I know in many films and franchises people overuse the phrase "there was never anything like it," but really there never was anything like Lord of the Rings. It's been adapted before, but never in a way that left a cultural impact. In fact, for years, fans thought it couldn't be adapted. It was just too big. Well, Peter Jackson had a plan and convinced New Line Cinema to take a big gamble, allow him to shoot 2 films at the same time, condensing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. When one of the producers said, "Wait, aren't there 3 books? Shouldn't we make it 3?" Jackson shrugged and said, "Well, if you gotta." He must have been a good negotiator, because not only did he get an unbelievable budget and honestly a fair amount of creative control, but he convinced New Line that the director of this was the perfect choice. I can't imagine planning all 3 of these films and having them be as good and popular as they are. It took something that was celebrated mainly in just geek culture and book clubs and turned it into a worldwide phenomenon. Before these movies, the average person didn't know what a Hobbit was, even with the musical stylings of Leonard Nimoy.
Bilbo Baggins, bravest little hobbit of them all.
With that said, yes, this needed to connect with as many people as possible given the budget and that there were going to be 2 more of them, so there are things that most fans acknowledge are needed to win over the average person, but weren't always the best.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
It's going to be difficult to sum up why these incredibly long films made such a huge impact, but we have a whole month dedicated to it, so we're going to give it a try. And because there's so much movie to discuss, the best way to go about it is to just discuss it.
Wait, then why did we do a parody sketch in the opening?
This isn't a sketch. This is just us talking.
No, we're clearly all characters.
I'm not a character.
Let's talk about the first and shortest film of the bunch. At 3 hours, let's take a look at Fellowship of the Ring. The film opens in a magical land called Middle-earth, where we get the backstory about the forging of powerful rings, one of them made by an evil villain named Sauron.
The Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring.
And yeah, I know I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't like Sauron's design. I like you never see his face or hear him talk, and being covered in metal is on brand for these villains. But I'm sorry, this is supposed to be the great deceiver, the ultimate evil, and he looks like a Marvel villain. Not a good one either, he's like that mini-boss in Thor. Even his lizard eye going bah, 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 just seems laughably over the top. Say what you want about dorky helmet guy in the Bakshi version, but he was literally a shadow, and I think he's scarier as just a shadow. Simply being talked about and using your imagination. I know I'm a minority on that, I just don't find this guy scary. Luckily though, everything else about this intro is pretty badass. Showing an alliance of men and elves fighting creatures called orcs in Sauron's homeland Mordor. Thank you for coming towards us from that angle, it looked really cool. King Isildur destroys Sauron by chopping off the ring, customized to fit any size, and it slips from person to person over the years.
But something happened then the ring did not intend.
It fell in cow shit. No, it's picked up by a hobbit named Bilbo, played by Ian Holm, who carries it back home to the Shire, and years later his nephew Frodo, played by Elijah Wood, is joining the others celebrating Bilbo's birthday with his wizard friend Gandalf, played by Ian McKellen. That mention, by the way, might be the first movie to fulfill every Internet Geek's fan casting.
A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Are they seeing who can hold a fart the longest? What are we doing? Actually, that would explain their awkward laugh immediately after. We're classy here. Gandalf tours the Shire filled with small people and small pigs and small sheep and small dogs. Yeah, how does this work? And I know, again, I've mentioned this before, but I'm really not the biggest fan of this film's editing. I don't blame the director. I don't even really blame the editor. Like I said, this was a beast of a production. They have footage up the wazoo to get across very quickly in a way everybody can comprehend and be interested in. That's a lot to ask of anyone, and mistakes are going to be made. But sometimes the fast cuts do result in moments that just don't feel right.
Half the Shire's been invited.
Who addresses me?
He's up to something. All right, then, keep your secrets.
That is just not a natural back and forth. A lot of fans introduce newcomers to the extended version, and I don't think that's wise either. Yeah, it's neat, I'm glad it exists, but a lot of it isn't needed, and I think it drag out too long for first-timers. Except for this one. And even then, not all the way, like up to where they get to Rivendell. Because you're setting up the main characters, and that is gonna take a little more time.
He's up to something. All right, then, keep your secrets.
I like building up Bilbo's appearance, but the extended version sets up these people a lot better.
Half the Shire's been invited, and the rest of them are turning up anyway.
See, doesn't that feel more like how people talk? Even Sam, the guy the movie is literally gonna end on, gets just one moment of him looking at a woman, and then they're like, you're a main character now, off you go. And yeah, the extended version doesn't add a ton, but it's just enough to make us connect with them a bit more. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about preachers of Jesus?
I want to see mountains again. Mountains, Gandalf.
I think most people know there's a lot of practical effects and forced perspective to make the height differences for the hobbits look more convincing, and they're really well done. Though I always thought it was a little weird they spent millions and millions on this and didn't just hire little people. Oh, except for the far-off shots, which kind of makes me question it even more. They're good enough for the far-off shots, but not the close-ups. I don't know, maybe they want actors who were somewhat well-known, and yeah, these weren't huge stars, but they were known. And there weren't really that many little people stars back then, so it feels a little odd, but it doesn't take away from the great performances all these people give.
111 years old. You haven't aged a day.
Have you been drinking Mario Lopez blood? They throw a big party complete with Mary Poppins fireworks. Speaking of Mary, two hobbits named Merry and Pippin, played by Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd, are causing trouble.
That was good. Let's get another one.
We like to thank guest director Blake Edwards for shooting that scene.
My dear Bagginses and Buffins, Rubs, Jobs, Woodenblowers.
Hey, watch the slurs.
Goodbye.
Bilbo surprises him by putting on the ring and disappearing, planning to leave the ring with Frodo, yet he finds it has a strange hold on him.
You want it for yourself!
Bilbo Baggins! Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks.
As I conjure up this cheap trick. I remember when Ian McKellen was nominated for an Oscar, this was the clip they chose because they clearly had no idea what else to choose. McKellen is perfect, but a Best Actor nod is a little weird. I mean, Sean Bean's performance is right there.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Gandalf thinks there's more to this ring than he first thought, so he ventures out to do some research, leading to one of the cooler shots in the movie. We see a giant tower in Mordor. Holy smokes, that thing is huge, but then in the same shot, it's shown that's just part of another tower that's literally so big you can't see the top of it. That's a clever reveal. The words Shire and Baggins are shouted as Gandalf figures out the One Ring is in fact the Ring of Sauron.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Great callback to that awkward shot you got before. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the weird close-ups in this.
For 60 years, the ring lay quiet in Bilbo's keeping.
Gandalf reveals this is the One Ring to rule them all, and in the wrong hands, Sauron could return.
His life force is bound to the ring, and the ring survived.
Sad to say, this is another moment where the pacing's a little off. In the book, Gandalf disappears for 17 years and very calmly tells Frodo what's going on, allowing more time so we can get to know him as characters. However, in the book, the party also goes on for like a bajillion pages, so I get the idea of wanting to get the story going and some real urgency here. The issue is, the tone really goes back and forth. Ooh, gotta hide, shit's getting real. You know, some tease sounds nice, there's no rush. Wait, they heard Shire Baggins. I'm Shire Baggins, we gotta move, we gotta go! Oh, Frodo, your first day of school. Let's take a second to really admire this moment. What was that? Get down! It's just a little too back and forth for me.
Confounded old Samwise Gamgee!
Like I mentioned before, Sam was eavesdropping, so Gandalf says he should go with Frodo on his journey. He says he'll meet with him at an inn after he consults with the head of his order, Saruman, played by Christopher Lee. And you'll be surprised to discover a guy with this appearance who lives in this place is amazingly a bad guy.
Against the power of Mordor, there can be no victory. You must join with Sauron.
But didn't you say on Charlie Rose I'm never a Sauron guy? I think it's okay. The last guy who was in my spot turned out great.
They have themselves a wizard's duel.
I win!
Which is pretty cool, even if the scene is a little silly.
I gave you the chance of aiding me.
And we cut back to Sam and Frodo, who bump into Merry and Pippin.
A shortcut. Shortcut to what?
Mushrooms!
I love that stuff. It makes me feel like I'm on a suburban couch just looking at the ceiling. What a trip. The 9 rings made from men have been corrupted by Sauron, though, and are now the Black Riders, who are about as perfectly intimidating as you can get. They're unstoppable, magically powerful killing machines, except when it comes to water. Come on, guys, break the stereotype Black Riders don't swim.
What business brings you to Bree?
We wish to stay at the inn. Our business is our own.
After passing by the director's cameo,
What's up, Doc? You with a sideshow around here?
they expect to meet up with Gandalf, but he's not been seen for months. They're approached by a ranger named Strider, played by Viggo Mortensen, whose introduction, again, is slightly the victim of odd editing.
Are you frightened?
Yes.
Not nearly frightened enough.
He says the Hobbit should be more scared as something terrible is hunting them. Okay, good night. Now, don't get me wrong, making it look like the Black Riders killed them is a good fake out, even if it does come after one of the funniest shots in the movie. Like every 20 minutes, it randomly becomes Looney Tunes. But they're shooting it like, ooh, we're supposed to think Strider let them die. We've only known this guy for literally a minute. Why am I supposed to get that reaction?
Where are you taking us?
Into the wild.
Nicking any camera when I find them.
Gentlemen, we do not stop till nightfall.
Like many of the characters, though, he does balance out the more the movie goes on. Even if he does literally abandon them at their most vulnerable moments.
Nice crispy bacon.
Put it out, you fools! Put it out!
Uh-oh, now we made enough for the 4 of us. Frodo puts on the ring, but is stabbed by one of the riders, just as Strider tries to save him.
Ow, my face! My doctor said I'm not supposed to get fire on it!
Frodo is infected by the blade he was stabbed with, but thankfully an elf named Arwen, played by Liv Tyler, is there to help. Sorry, let me turn down my elvish backlighting we all have.
We must get him to my father. I athrodoni here, Torgwaith nin beriathon.
So I don't mind Arwen being given a bigger role here as, A, it is a bit of a sausage fest. I mean, there's more wood here than End Furnish Company. And B, for a character who does have an interesting dilemma in the later films, it just wouldn't have been as engaging if she just greeted them when they got to Rivendell. My only problem is Frodo, the main character, is completely useless. He either needed to step up to the Black Riders at the ruins, the river, or both. And then Strider and or Arwen saves him. All he does here is constantly lose to gravity. He really needed something to do during at least one of these scenes to get us more invested. Ooh, a battle scar from a tree. She's got badass war wounds.
If you want him, come and claim him.
Okay. Hey Frank, this water stuff ain't so bad.
Yeah, why were we so afraid of it? Look, there's even horses. Water sucks.
You suck, Frank. Frodo wakes up in Rivendell all healed up, and with Gandalf as well, who explains how Air Deus Ex Machina saved him from Saruman.
There is only one Lord of the Ring.
But you wouldn't know that because you can't see him!
Frodo! Sam, bless you, you're awake!
Funny note, there was pushback to have Sam grab Frodo's hand because some were concerned it might look a little gay. Yeah, that was the scene they thought might give people that impression.
Welcome to Rivendell.
We're introduced to King Elrond, played by Hugo Weaving, who assembles several Middle-earth's most Middle-earthiest looking people to decide what is to be done with the One Ring. Boromir, played by Sean Bean, says it should be used to restore order. Gimli, played by John Rhys-Davies, tries to destroy it without running it by anyone. And Legolas, played by Orlando Bloom, is beautiful.
What would a ranger know of this matter?
He is Aragorn. You owe him your allegiance.
Like how he owes me my scrunchie. While everyone bickers, Frodo seems tortured yet drawn to the ring, so he says he'll be the one to take it to the only place it can be destroyed, Mount Doom. Wait, nobody knew a guy who lived in a place called Mount Doom was bad? Its name is Doom!
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
Here's my sword. Here's my bow.
Here's my axe. Bye.
Mr. Frodo's not going anywhere without me.
Sam, Merry, and Pippin say they're coming too, and I smell a title drop.
9 companions. You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
I love the look he gives, like, yeah, I'm proud of that. Yeah, all the movies do this.
There is only one Lord of the Ring.
You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
The union of the two towers.
Authority is not given to you to deny the return of the king.
Which is ironic because Tolkien didn't like splitting it up into 3 books or the titles they were given. Hell, he said Return of the King basically gave away the ending. Where you on that one, spoiler culture?
It's so light, yeah. Made by the elves, you know.
While talking with Bilbo, who now lives in Rivendell, he finds he's once again drawn to his old friend.
To hold it again one last time.
So yeah, as you may have noticed, there are moments in this trilogy that are a little too over the top. The book keeps it vague, like this could be how Frodo sees him looking similar to Gollum, but the movie does take some scenes a little too literally. I will say though, this is a 3-hour movie, and scenes like this and Galadriel going raw from Stargate do wake the audience up a bit. So even though it's a little much, I do understand why. When Saruman uses his magic to block their path, they make their way through the Mines of Moria, where Gimli's cousin resides.
Speak, friend, and enter.
What do you suppose that?
If you want a friend, you speak the password and the doors will open.
Walt sent me. QWERTY? 12345. Password. Password 1. Password 12345.
Frodo finally does something and figures out you literally speak the word friend in Elvish to open the door. However, not only do they find everyone inside is dead, but a monster is stopping them from going the other way.
We now have but one choice.
This Adobe lighting effect. Don't worry, it'll be the last time anyone botches the lighting in these movies.
There's something down there.
It's Gollum.
But it looks like Gollum, a creature whose life was destroyed by the ring, is following them.
It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance.
It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand.
Pity was the name of one of the dwarves who tripped and injured Bilbo's killing hand.
As they venture forth, they discover Gimli's cousin is dead, and yeah, I know I'm repeating myself again and again, but I like the original reaction more of just Gimli tilting his hat over his eyes and walking away. This kind of feels like that cry from the show Intervention. His chance for revenge comes, though, when the goblins who killed his cousin start rushing in.
They have a cave troll.
We have a tears.
The team battles Shrek's kidney stone. Okay, how did Merry and Pippin not see him there? But they have to battle an even bigger foe, a fiery beast called the Balrog.
Dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun!
The Balrog looks good, but I will say I wish they mixed CG with something that was actually there, like a puppet or stop motion or something. He looks just a little too much like a World of Warcraft boss.
You shall not pass!
Thanks, every teacher in high school! Gandalf defeats the Balrog, but the Balrog pulls him down with it. They stop the hobbits from helping him due to the literal nothing shooting at them right now. And Gandalf falls to his death.
Fly, you fools!
Oh no!
This tears the team apart, but they do manage to make their way to Lothlorien, where Galadriel, played by Cate Blanchett, is waiting. Our heroes grieve for their fallen hero, if that's what you can call this weird line delivery.
What do they say about him? I have not the heart to tell you. For me, the grief is still too near.
You said that like your Amazon package is coming a day late. While Frodo looks into the fountain that shows things that could come to be.
The Fellowship is breaking. He will try to take the ring. You know of whom I speak.
You need to kill Pippin. The next day they're on their way where they encounter the most epic toll stop ever constructed.
Long have I desired to look upon the kings of old. My king.
Let's follow it up with this really dated frame rate effect that looked terrible back then. It looks even worse now. The ironic thing is, for all my complaining there's too much cut out of this, you could completely cut that moment and not miss a thing. Sometimes this movie does get a little drunk on its self-importance. Other times, though, they represent it perfect. I'm really not kidding when I say I'm shocked Ian McKellen got an Oscar nod, but not Sean Bean. He so easily could have been one note, but he really brings out a tortured humanity to this character that is corrupted by the power of the ring, but for a very noble cause to save his people.
To let that fear drive us to destroy what hope we have. I ask only for the strength to defend my people.
For all the bitching the character does, they know how to balance it out with real human moments too. He really does feel like a completely fleshed out character.
Give them a moment, for pity's sake!
Our paths will lead us there, and the Tower Guard shall take up the call. The Lords of Gondor have returned.
The look on his face when he realizes he single-handedly destroyed the Fellowship by trying to take the ring is so heartbreaking.
Frodo.
This was really more of a Faramir move. Aragorn as well sees he's tempted by the ring and fears, because of his family blood, that he'll eventually take it too. So he lets Frodo go alone just as the Orcai, or Orc Plus if you will, attack.
What's he doing? He's leaving.
Despite the book ending a little earlier, they do a good job wrapping this all up as the climax. Everybody's given a good moment to go out on, as well as a decent to be continued, with once again Boromir being the most powerful. I will give a battle that'll be worth a song, even if it's called the Feisty Little Pincushion! Aragorn fights off Boromir's killer and says he'll do his best to not let their kingdom fall. And goddamn, not only is this performance great, but it's one of the few times where the makeup really gives the impression this guy is taking his last breath.
I swear to you, I will not let our people fail. Our people.
Oh my god, Aragorn killed Boromir! Sam is the only one to find Frodo and swears to stand by him, literally risking death in doing so.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee.
I also don't think it's an accident Sam quotes the promise Gandalf had him make just as Frodo was thinking of his own words of wisdom from him. It shows how dedicated they are not only to each other, but also to his memory. Their bond is so strong that Aragorn decides to let them go and take what's left of the Fellowship to save Merry and Pippin.
The Fellowship has failed.
What if we hold true to each other?
Don't touch me.
Let us hunt some orc.
It ends with Sam and Frodo looking over the perilous journey that lies ahead of them.
I'm glad you're with me.
You know, Mr. Frodo, what do you say we chuck it in that puddle and tell everyone we traveled all the way? You read my mind, Sam. And that was the Fellowship of the Ring. I have issues like any Tolkien fan is going to, but it's still a pretty damn impressive accomplishment. The problems I have, I do excuse a little more because you could argue it's a proof of concept film. For something this grand and expensive and building up 2 more installments, you needed something that could reach the majority of people, yet still stay true to what the source material was. And I think this film not only does that, but it does succeed at it. I didn't even have a chance to talk about the stellar cinematography, the combination of practical and CG effects, and the unbelievable music. Every shot is impressive, the scale models look incredible, and just about everything has a musical theme that sounds like something right out of an epic opera. For the little nitpicks I have, it makes up for it in the grand presentation and, as you probably know, the amazing installments to follow. For Lord of the Rings month is just beginning and the best is yet to come. I'm the Nostalgia Critic and let's see if they're done bickering out there. All right, everybody, stop your bickering.
Dear Nostalgia Critic, we got bored and did something else. It's time to realize we have a life outside of you.
You literally don't. You were made for the show.
I know you think we literally don't, as we were made for the show, but that's why we're gonna be in a few Cinema Snob episodes.
Cinema Snob! I lost interest. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. When Fellowship of the Ring came out, a lot of people I know said, yeah, that was a good movie. And then 1 year later when Two Towers came out, everyone I know said, yeah, that was a good movie. Where I described Fellowship as an impressive film, but ultimately a proof of concept, Two Towers is the flick that said, okay, enough fooling around. Let's make people really give a shit. This is the film that got people going, yeah, I'll check out the next one, to why do I have to wait a whole year for the next one? Where am I supposed to get my Gollum fix? Dobby?
Dobby's a f***ing
Despite splitting up the characters and introducing even more people and conflicts, the grouping of stories actually made the pacing a little better and allowed the audience to really see the impact these situations were having on our leads. There wasn't as big a rush to introduce so many characters and go from place to place. Here, there are only 2 things you were really supposed to care about. Rohan, the Hobbits, and if there's time, maybe a talking tree. And even that you really end up caring about. Like with all the films though, it isn't perfect. There's still some characters being done wrong, like... Stop shitting on Gimli, why? Why are you doing this? But still, this was a huge step up from the last one, which was already pretty impressive. As before, there's a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. Let's look at a story about Two Towers that weirdly doesn't have much Two Towers in it. Let's take a look at Two Towers. The film opens with a dream sequence with Frodo remembering what happened to Gandalf. Even though I'm not sure how his subconscious saw all this happen, but who cares, this intro somehow managed to out-badass the previous one. Am I crazy or did they sing Bon Voyage there? I guess it's better than singing.
Just a dream.
Frodo wakes up though, and both him and Sam continue their journey to Mordor.
This other stuff, it's not bad. Nothing ever dampens your spirits, does it, Sam?
I can think of something I'd like to get dampened. They realize they're going around in circles though and start to put together they're being followed.
What's that horrid stink? Can you smell it? Yes, I can smell it.
Sorry, I put a little chipotle on that elven bread. They're approached by Gollum, played by Andy Serkis, who half the time looks very CG, but it's still good CG for 2002. And the other half of the time, I swear he's really there. Part of that could be they made a last-minute choice to use the shots where Serkis was standing in because the performances were better with Ashton and Wood. And I think doing so helped the animators figure out the lighting and texture better. I mean, think about it. This is over 20 years old, and look at this. That's not a CG head, that is Gollum's head. That's not a CG arm, that is Gollum's arm. He 100% looks like he's there on set.
We'll be nice to them if they be nice to us. Take of us.
At first I was a little concerned about the voice. But maybe the idea was the rope was choking him in this scene. And as the performance goes on, it sounds less like a boo being swallowed by Donald Duck and more like a voice of a person who's been around for several centuries.
I hate you. I hate you.
Using the shots with Serkis also allows more of his performance to shine through. as when you compare him in the first film to the second, you can see they definitely worked in much more of his facial features. This character won so many people over, they debated whether or not Serkis should get an Oscar nomination, despite him technically never being seen on camera. I don't know, I think a special Oscar for him and the CGI team would have worked, similar to what they did with Disney and his achievement on Snow White. And I guess the MTV Movie Award will have to be enough.
And Peter Jackson, who do you think you are, you f***ing hack? Shame on you! Go f*** yourself!
Sorry to keep cutting to that, it's the best acceptance speech ever. Gollum agrees to show them the way to Mordor while Merry and Pippin are catching a ride on the Uber-Kai. Thank you. Remember, 2 drink minimum.
What do you smell? Man flesh.
Ooh, half of Kevin Spacey's text. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli follow them through the shots and made everyone at least Google how much a New Zealand vacation is.
The Uruks turn northeast. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Well, it doesn't have nearly the same meme bait as potatoes, but I'll take it. Saruman's forces start invading several parts of Middle-earth, forcing families to separate.
You take your sister.
Papa says airplane must not fight, Geralt.
What the hell did that kid say?
Papa says airplane must not fight, Geralt.
This isn't our Tolkien language. Ease. Our heroes enter the kingdom of Rohan, where King Theoden, played by Bernard Hill, has clearly never recovered from arguing if Jack could fit on that wooden frame. Carl Urban plays Aeromir, Miranda Otto plays Eowyn, who tell the king his son is seriously injured by Saruman's army, but the king's aide named Grimer Wormtongue, who, get this, is also bad in this, tells him that's not true.
Saruman the White has ever been our friend and ally.
He's played by Brad Dourif, wearing a Play-Doh mask from the Gary Oldman and Danny DeVito villain's playset.
How long is it since Saruman bought you? What was the promised price, Grimer?
One day, I'll be a blonde. Grimer banishes Aeromir, but he continues to hunt down and kill Saruman's army, bumping into our heroes crossing into Rohan.
Speak quickly. Give me your name, Horsemaster, and I shall give you mine.
Okay, every once in a while Gimli has a cool moment. There's even occasionally a funny moment when it feels less forced.
The trees are speaking to each other. Gimli, lower your axe.
I would cut off your head if it stood but a little higher from the ground.
You would die before your stroke fell.
I also like Legolas sticks up for him. Like they have a rivalry, but when it really counts, they do have each other's backs.
Track a party of Uruk-hai westward across the plain.
Aeromir tells him, though, that they found the Uruk-hai they were chasing and left none alive. So it's unlikely the hobbits they're looking for survived.
We piled the carcasses and burned them.
Dead?
Sorry.
I'd give you a hug if your head stood but a little taller from the ground. They make their way there, but aren't able to find them.
It's one of their wee belts.
Fun fact, Mortensen. Oh, everybody's talked about the toast story. It became a meme. Well, did you know why kids love the taste of cinnamon toast crunch? Oh, it's also a meme. Well, have you seen Bee Movie? Aragorn tracks their footsteps, though, and realizes they may still be alive.
A hobbit lay here. Their hands were bound. Their bonds were cut.
Yes, they were bound, unbound, bound again, and then unbound. Okay, the editing in this is a lot better, but they're still goof-ups.
What madness drove me there?
A flashback shows they were chased into the forest until they discover an unusual creature.
I am an Ent.
Tree herder.
Treebeard, some call me.
I stalked many a Ronald McDonald play place.
John Rhys-Davies also does the voice of Treebeard, which surprisingly isn't that distracting. And he says he has to take him to the White Wizard. Admittedly, this is a pretty clever fake out, except for the fact that they put his face on all the advertising and trailers. You see, movies were red hulking it even before Brave New World.
Dead faces in the water.
Elves and men and orcs.
Meanwhile, Sam and Frodo are led through the dead marshes, where the power of the ring is too much for Frodo and he falls into a Scary Stories illustration. Gollum saves him, which quickly creates an interesting setup, like maybe he's not as evil as we're led to believe, as Frodo and him form a strong bond, both being possessed by the ring. I didn't even notice until this time around that the same time Frodo is petting the ring in his hand, Gollum is doing the same thing despite literally nothing being there. The Black Riders pimped up their ride though and continue to search for them.
I thought they were dead.
No, you cannot kill them, no.
Unless you're a chick through some strange-ass loophole.
Back in the forest, our heroes run into Gandalf back from the dead as he reveals what happened. Except how he fell into a lake and ended up at the top of a mountain, but the books have appendixes for every time a dragon queefs. I'm sure they explain that there too.
Darkness took me.
He says he died but was sent back until his task was done because his BFF seemed to make it work, and he beckons them to King Theoden, who is in need of their aid. It's impressive through the backstory and visuals how quickly you care for these people and what they used to be / still could be. The music alone has a quiet yet epic weight that can work either as a dignified funeral or as a triumphant. Speaking of which, Gandalf tries to return Theoden to his original glory, but the sorcery of Saruman tries to cling on.
I will draw you, Saruman, as poison is drawn from a wound.
Be healed! Hallelujah! Estaria, Christ compels you!
Oh shit, he leveled up. Wonder if that Bombadil fellow can up my XP.
Again, in possibly too literal an interpretation, the shadow of Saruman leaves and he's back to his normal self.
I know your face.
Susan, right? He tries to kill Grimer for all that he's done, but Aragorn stops him.
Enough blood has been spilled on his account.
Yes, let him give Saruman all our secrets so even more blood can be spilled on his account. What, do they not have a prison there?
Where is my son?
After Theoden cries over the death of his son in a really well-written and well-acted moment, the kids from before arrive and tell him about the growing army.
They were unarmed. Now the wild men are moving through the Westfold.
This is but a taste of the terror that Saruman will unleash.
But what does Gimli have to add? And yet Snow White is the most offensive film to dwarves. And will be. Theoden says his kingdom must venture to Helm's Deep where he believes he can protect everybody, as Frodo becomes more occupied with saving Gollum.
I want to help him, Sam.
Why? Because I have to believe he can come back.
We have too much in common, our big, weird, freaky eyes for a start. They run across the armies of Dolly, and even though it's in the book, I do think it's smart they kept this little preview of these things. I get the feeling if they just showed up in the third film, people would be like, wait, there's freaking heffalumps in this? They're captured, though, by Boromir's brother, Faramir, played by David Wenham. But who cares? Gimli's being silly again.
It was deliberate.
Can we drop by Willow's house and make a trade? They're attacked suddenly by one of the lamer effects in the movie. These hyena rancors, and our heroes impossible themselves on their horses and fight. Oh, we now have a smell bad joke from Gimli. 2 more bodily functions and he'll be a Big Mama's House sequel. Aragorn gets caught on one of the wolves though, just running off a cliff as animals instinctually do.
Leave the dead.
Well, I'm keeping the jewelry. Meanwhile, after Saruman invents bombs, not in the book, but kinda cool, he greets his army of extraordinary magnitude.
There is no such force.
I've been here for days. How did I miss this? Follow-up question, how'd they see that small-ass wave all the way in the back? They're sent to Helm's Deep as well. Gandalf wasn't dead, Merry and Pippin weren't dead. I guess Aragorn can be not dead too. I go back and forth on this as it doesn't seem to add that much to the story. But I guess it does give him time to not only get back on his feet, but also debate who his heart belongs to, seeing how Éowyn seems to have the hots for him and Arwen is debating if she should skip her trip to the Grey Havens and stay with him. It's time to look beautifully at things and speak gibberish.
Whether by the sword or the slow decay of time, Aragorn will die.
This scene is amazing. In the first film, I was at best indifferent to Arwen being in it, but this moment showing her life if she strays, all alone after Aragorn eventually dies, is masterfully done.
But you, my daughter, you will linger on as nightfall in winter that comes without a star.
It takes the words right out of the appendix of the book and puts it right at the center of her dilemma, creating a beautifully melancholy moment of mourning a life well lived, but not being able to join him due to being immortal. It's hands down my favorite scene in the movie.
Get
Wow, I got every father's wish, giving a speech to his daughter that keeps her away from boys. Go me. Even the appearance of Galadriel feels less like a forced cameo like in a Marvel movie and a good sum up of how urgent things are becoming. Even that painting of man defeating evil now changes perspective to look more like man being overpowered by evil.
Frodo begins to understand. The quest will claim his life.
So says my very vague doublespeak I won't go into more detail about. Faramir's story almost works as someone who wants to redeem himself in the eyes of his father and match the glory of his fallen brother, as he plans to do so by getting the ring to his kingdom, which is falling apart.
The ring will go to Gondor.
There's just one problem. We have no idea why he's doing any of this. Like, sure, to save his people, but we just did this with Boromir. How is this any different? How is it not repeating? Well, I feel like every film's extended version has at least one crucial missing scene, and for this film, this is the one, showing how loved his brother was and how much his father dismissed him, thinking bringing in the ring and saving the day will earn his father's love.
Ever the ring will seek to corrupt the hearts of lesser men, but you!
If there's need to go to Rivendell, send me in his stead.
I trust this mission only to your brother, the one who will not fail me.
Without this scene, he just looks like a jerk, redoing the exact same arc Boromir went through, just not as interesting. Oh wow, he's giving up the ring at the end. So what? He's being a dick to begin with. But this scene really makes us sympathize with what he's doing, especially after he finds out his brother's dead. There are some good moments though, like Frodo betraying Gollum so he doesn't get killed, yet he still gets beaten horribly. As you may have observed, pretty much everything with Gollum in this movie is flawless.
Precious!
Except that yell's a little dumb. And I will say Aragorn's fake death seems warranted just for this one shot alone.
That was awesome.
Meanwhile, Treebeard discusses with his fellow Ents if it makes sense for them to go to war against Saruman.
This is the forest of no return.
Aragorn says they need to call Gondor for aid, but Theoden says Gondor knows what it did and refuses. This leads to one of the best buildups of any battle in any movie.
The days have gone down in the west, behind the hills, into shadow.
So much time is dedicated to making it look like this might be their Alamo. This image of a helmet being put on a kid's head is branded into my memory. It's the ultimate, oh my god, this shit is serious. You feel the dread in both the articulate moments and the quiet moments. It's amazing how much you want to see an epic fight, but don't want to see anything happen to anyone either.
Not the Dagger. Then I shall die as one of them.
And then, you know, there's dumb Gimli shit.
It's a little tight across the chest.
What's even that look? Like, well, grow smaller tits. What am I supposed to take away from that?
That is no Orcorn.
At the time, Tolkien fans really lost their shit when some elves were sent to help with the battle, and I honestly could take it or leave it. It's nice seeing a small army of men fight for themselves, but it's also nice seeing not every elf is leaving and some stay behind because they believe in their fight. I mean, for God's sake, there was a version where Arwen was there, almost completely contradicting the amazing scene she had before. That would have been a bad move. Out of all the problems this series has, I don't know why fans chose this nothing burger to obsess over. Especially when there's...
You could have picked a better spot.
'Cause you short. Shut up! The ironic thing is this battle is so well built up and feels so real that when it finally begins, it doesn't feel real enough. What I mean is, every time I start to really get into it, something dumb happens to ruin the flow. For example, constantly interrupting the adrenaline rush with Treebeard literally sleep-talking through his scenes.
We have just agreed.
But okay, you could argue that's part of the point. People are dying and they're not doing anything. It's supposed to be frustrating. You get the king not really being a great decision maker and instead talking like he's tweeting during an MMA fight.
So it begins.
Is this it? Is this all you can conjure, Saruman?
Your men are dying, asshole. Stop penis measuring your army size. I also think they break open the wall way too early. You want to have that be a big, oh no, we're gonna lose moment, but it happens 5 minutes in. And 2 of those minutes are focused on Treebeard, so it's more like 3 minutes.
If the wall is breached, Helm's Deep will fall.
3 minutes later.
And man, for a battle they're trying to convince us they could lose and everyone could die, everyone is too goddamn invincible. Our main characters literally throw themselves into this army of super soldiers, instant death, not once, not twice, but 3 times and never get a scratch on them. The only one that bites the dust is Lothlorien's chubbiest elf, which honestly feels like a token death to make up for the fact that none of the main characters are getting hurt. With that said, what, am I supposed to pretend there's not a ton of awesome here too? The sheer size of this battle is so impressive, mixing CG with practical effects, the awesome cinematography showing its epic scale and how much was really there, the director having himself take out one of the Uruk-hai, this awesome edit. I'm not blind, there's a ton of really cool stuff. I just wish it wasn't interrupted with,
Toss me. Don't tell the elf.
look what they've done to my dwarf. It makes up for it in the end though, as once again, you do feel the urgency and that this might be their last ride to their doom. This is the only one where they can be a little untouchable because it looks like they're about to die in literally 2 seconds. However, Gandalf appears exactly an hour and a half later to save the day, so you legit forgot he was even in the movie, despite him being such a major plot point earlier. Now that's just damn good pacing. Time for some Carl Urban renewal! Also, the Ents, after seeing Saruman destroy their forest, decide to go to war as well. Not sure how their slow language took all night to discuss not going to war, but then 1 syllable can change their minds, but whatever, this fight's amazing. This battle isn't even 1/5 as long as Helm's Deep, but by God, it shows nothing but the best moments, and it's so goddamn cool.
Save a tree. Wipe your ass with an orc.
Meanwhile, Faramir takes Sam and Frodo to Osgiliath, where Sam finally tells him Boromir died trying to take the ring. Why didn't you bring that up to him days earlier?
What are you doing?
But one of the riders tries to take the ring from Frodo, who's so possessed he starts to comply. Sam stops him though in one of the more intense scenes. I think most people in this moment were like, oh my God, the faculty kid's gonna kill Rudy.
I can't do this, Sam.
He snaps him out of it and Sam makes a speech that there are some things worth fighting for.
It's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here.
Tell me about it!
It's only a passing thing. This shadow. Even darkness must pass.
I guess a lot of people at the time connected this speech to being pro the Iraq war, which was going on. I think the idea was more self-defense than invade where your most wanted enemy isn't, but I don't know. Maybe Tolkien would have liked freedom fries, I'm not sure.
Sauron's wrath will be terrible, his retribution swift. The battle for Middle-earth is about to begin.
At the end of part 2 in a 3-part trilogy. You're making the Hobbit movie sound short. Faramir lets Sam and Frodo go as they partake in some of the lamer writing in the movie.
Frodo wouldn't have got far without Sam.
You shouldn't make fun. I was being serious.
So was I.
But Gollum has plans for how to get his revenge.
Could let do it.
We let the first one end a few pages late. We can let this one end a few pages early.
And that was The Two Towers. This is when the movies went from good to awesome. Almost all the little problems the previous film had aren't here. The pacing is much better, you feel everyone's emotional struggle, nobody feels shoehorned in, and the changes from the book, for the most part, seem to make sense when adapting into a movie. Again, there's little issues here and there, but that's to be expected in something this massive based on something else even more massive. For what these people had to bring to the screen, they truly did go above and beyond. In fact, a lot of people were wondering how on Middle-earth they were going to top it. Well, we'll answer that next week as Lord of the Ring month is coming to a close. Oh, don't worry, coming to a close still means several goddamn endings. I'm a Nostalgia Critic, I remember, so you don't have to. It's done. It's over now. The Lord of the Rings trilogy has come to an end. I'm glad to be here at the end of of all things.
How do you pick up the threads of an old trilogy? How do you act when in your heart you begin to understand there's no going back?
Hey, what the hell? Didn't the narration start with me?
Yeah, but there's so much going on, people won't remember who started it.
Well, I know who's ending it. Me. Piss off.
But that's the thing, critic. These are the endings.
What do you mean, these?
Lord of the Rings had 1,000,000 endings, so we should have 1,000,000 endings.
Yeah, everybody must know the outcome of every person that's ever had screen time in these reviews.
It occurred to me I never had a scene where I moved in slow-mo in the forest, like an angelic screensaver.
I suddenly realized I didn't file my taxes. So many questions. Does my goldfish count as a dependent?
It came to our knowledge that we hadn't gotten married yet.
The chart says this is the most cost-effective way to work it into a review.
I wonder why they put me in these endings if I wasn't even in the original reviews.
Enough! Everybody knows this movie's endings go on way too long.
Yet somehow it didn't ruin the movie.
Everyone says the ending is the most important, yet this film is still regarded as a classic.
Nominated for almost as many Oscars as Emilia Perez. God, that feels so wrong.
Because it is wrong.
So wrong.
Penis to vagina.
I guess that does make you realize what an impact this movie had on people, even with an ending that's far from perfect. Return of the King became the... Oh, hold on. There we go. Return of the King became the film everybody had to see. The cast and crew were building up. This was the best of all of them, and at the time, it was hard for people to believe. Two Towers won so many over on so many different levels, it didn't seem possible to top. But as you probably guessed, this not only met the hype, but it surpassed it. When fans would say Lord of the Rings is unfilmable, this is the portion they're usually thinking of. Giant ghost armies, giant spiders, giant elephants. Even as far as special effects had come, nobody thought this could be done on the same scale as the books without eventually looking like Joshua and the Promised Land. But not only did we get effects that for over 20 years old still look pretty damn amazing, but the wrapping up of one of the most expensive trilogies of all time actually followed through on still giving us a heartfelt and emotional conclusion. Even if there were about 20 of them. Clocking in at almost 3.5 hours, the longest in the series, that was already pretty long. People constantly mock its length and too many endings, yet still praise it as one of cinema's most impressive achievements. So, what is it about this conclusion that won everybody over even when it didn't win everybody over? Well, let's take a closer look. The rest of you continue to end.
Man to woman or woman to man.
No, Malcolm! Don't give in!
But it's so cringy!
Don't worry, this review will give you your fix.
Nice. Let's take a look at The Return of the King. So we go from the most epic openings of all time to a tiny worm, which is also the title for one of the producer's biographies, as we get a flashback to Smeagol and Deagle finding the One Ring while fishing.
Put it on! Go on! Put it on!
It's nice to see Circus showing his real face in one of these movies, though I don't know what to think of him going in and out of the Gollum voice.
Precious.
I just assume he sounded like that because he's been around for hundreds of years, but no, he's always sounded like a squeaky balloon with asthma. He kills Deagle for the ring, and while the transformation over the years is wonderfully done, it is weird it's not a flashback or a dream Gollum is having. Like Gandalf falling in Two Towers, yes, is a flashback, but it's a dream the main character is having. It's still part of the narrative, even if very loosely. This just comes out of nowhere and then cuts back to the story. If you were watching these back-to-back like one long film, it wouldn't really make sense. It'd be like if the movie was interrupted to suddenly show us how Legolas figured out how to skate shield. Neat, but could tie into the storytelling a little better.
Come on, bitches.
As Sam and Frodo continue their journey, Aragorn and his team approach the now-destroyed Isengard.
The salted pork is particularly good. Salted pork.
And this is the film where Gimli's handled the best. On that note, don't let him and Treebeard talk. Might sound kind of weird.
There, Saruman must remain.
Let's just have his head and be done with it.
No, he has no power anymore.
I mean, what's he really done when you think about it? Again, I've gone on and on about how cutting Saruman from the film was a huge mistake. I mean, what, everybody and their pumpkins gets a conclusion, yet one of your main villains isn't even allowed in the flick? You're 10 minutes in. People aren't gonna get restless yet.
Kiss my bark.
Pippin discovers a device Saruman has been using to talk to Sauron called the Palantir, and they return to Rohan to hopefully fix the backwards chimneys.
Are you mad? I just want to look at it.
Pippin wants to see the shiny Palantir again, which, seeing how in the extended edition they show they smoked barrels of weed beforehand, that's not very surprising. But unfortunately, Sauron is on call waiting.
Saruman, when did you turn into a mini Eric Idol?
Pippin!
Stop trying to make frame drops a thing. It'll never be a thing! Pippin says he saw a vision of a burning white tree, which Gandalf knows is a sign Gondor is about to be attacked. He says Rohan should help, but Theoden is hesitant.
Tell me, why should we ride to the aid of those who did not come to ours?
Hey, don't do too much of the political talk or we'll become Game of Thrones, and I don't like what they could do with the brother and sister duo over there. Gandalf takes Pippin to Gondor, to the city of Minas Tirith, because Sauron now thinks he might have the ring. Meanwhile, the virgin Arwen is off to the Grey Havens when a vision shows her that if she stays, she'll give birth to Jesus. I mean, yeah, what other interpretation am I supposed to take from this imagery? Hey, stick it out, your kid could become Christ in a series that already has a Christ.
You saw there was a child.
Nothing is certain.
Except I exclusively do trilogies. She decides to stay behind as Gandalf and Pippin make it to Mount Wedding Cake, where the steward King Denethor, played by John Noble, has just discovered the death of his son, Boromir.
Perhaps you come to tell me why my son is dead.
Certainly, he did it. Pippin feels guilt about Boromir dying for him, so he pledges his allegiance to the king. Something Merry does for Theoden in the extended cut, which is another scene I feel should have been left in, like it shows them both stepping up.
Word has reached my ears of this Aragorn, and I tell you now, I will not bow to this ranger from the north.
While Denethor is acted well, there needed to be a bit more humanity to him. Like, I get it, he's an asshole, but the book showed he's also human. Like, I love the scene of him smiling while Pippin pledges his allegiance, getting some of the words wrong. He could be pissed off and say, no, you're doing it wrong, what's even the point of this? But it shows a more sympathetic side. Most of the time, though, he is the other way. He's always grumbling or screaming. Even the way he eats is douchey. I'm shocked they didn't show he had his own Palantir with Sauron manipulating him into his madness. Similar to how Wormtongue manipulated Theoden.
I have seen more than you know. For all your subtleties, you have not wisdom.
Everyone says he's supposed to be a Shakespearean tragedy, but if you don't see any decency from him, I don't see what's supposed to be tragic about him.
It's so quiet.
It's the deep breath before the plunge.
As they're told about the impending armies getting closer to Gondor. Fun note, this is how Jackson dresses every time he directs. Sam and Frodo get to meet as Morgo, protected by a statue of that weird thing from Spawn. Ooh, a skybeam. Nobody recreate that for the next 10 years. The most powerful of the 9 riders, known as the Witch King, leads his army, which despite sensing the ring in the Shire when it's so close, somehow that just turns off when it's at his front door. And I know I already made a Weinstein joke, but this is totally him, right? If he was Sloth from Goonies.
Fear. The city is ripe with it.
That's what Weinstein would say just walking through LA.
Send forth all legions.
What of the wizard?
I will break him. In another scene we'll weirdly cut out. Hey, at least you got a death sequence in the original cut.
Like many moments in this trilogy, a scene that wasn't a big deal in the books suddenly becomes one of the coolest scenes in the movie, as Gondor lights the beacon for aid. Did I mention of all the Oscar nominations this film got, best cinematography was not one of them? Because, you know, blurry Maguire and horse asses is a lot more epic.
The beacons are lit! Gun calls for aid!
And Rohan will answer.
With a resounding no. Light the beacon of what have you done for us lately? Light the beacon of I came to your kids' birthday parties. Light the beacon of you got them a Furby as a present, that is so 1999. Yeah, maybe they should have done carrier pigeons. Faramir and his army are overpowered by orcs, but thankfully Gandalf not from the scene where he arrives at the city. Yeah, he just randomly brings Pippin to fight Nazgul with him all the time. Saves the day. Meanwhile, Gollum tricks Frodo into thinking Sam ate the last of the bread and he's secretly trying to take the ring. Yeah, it's a little forced, but it does lead to some good acting.
He's poisoned you against me.
Go home.
The only thing I don't understand is you could have just had Sam show up later to save the day, like he's not gonna let Frodo down even when he tells him to leave. But instead they show later he finds the bread that Gollum threw out, like that's what inspired him to go back. What's the point? It would have been a better surprise if we didn't have that scene. What, was he just like, so I didn't eat it?
I do not think we should so lightly abandon the outer defenses. I will not yield the river in Pelennor unfought.
Things aren't much better in Minas Tirith as Denethor sends Faramir on a suicide mission to take back what the orcs have taken.
Faramir, do not throw away your life so rashly.
At least take Pippin with you.
Where does my allegiance lie if not here?
Father's will has turned to madness.
Well, you could always bring your staff. That seemed to scare him away.
No, I'm just a conjurer of cheap tricks. You guys do the real work.
Can you sing, Master Hobbit?
Well enough for my own people, but we have no songs for great halls and evil times.
Our songs are mainly drunken slurs about how our piss misses the toilet. Again, during a time when people thought Two Towers was saying it was pro the Iraq War, this movie goes big time out of its way to make it clear that it's not pro-war and more pro-self-defense. Even if I swear it sounds a little like a pop song from time to time.
Through shadow, through the edge of night.
How can a song with no auto-tuning sound like there's auto-tuning? Meanwhile, the armies of Rohan make camp while Aragorn notices a very threatening path.
It is the road to the Dimhold. None who venture there ever return. That mountain is evil.
Perfect place to camp in front of. Eowyn and Merry, though, are both upset that they're not allowed to fight.
You should not encourage him.
Why should Merry be left behind? He has as much cause to go to war as you. Why can he not fight for those he loves?
I guess you're right. Could be worse. It could be a chick. But it looks like a stranger approaches them.
I come on behalf of one whom I love.
We've had this talk. I like ladies.
Arwen is dying.
So yeah, this gets weird. Nobody really knows what this random connection between Arwen and the ring is. It looks like she's sick and somehow destroying the ring will save her, I guess?
Arwen's life is now tied to the fate of the ring.
Now, you could make the argument that referring to her staying behind will eventually lead to her death, like it'll lead to everybody's death if the ring isn't destroyed. But if so, why isn't she there giving the sword? Why do they keep making it look like she's not well and she's on her deathbed? For a character that surprisingly did not feel shoehorned in before, she definitely does with this one. With that said, I love it when Elrond shows Aragorn's sword isn't a limp dick anymore and he seems to crazily get off on it.
The power of this sword can summon to him an army more deadly than any that walks this earth.
I'm so hard, I'm so hard, I'm so hard, I'm so hard! Aragorn decides to convince the army of the dead to join their battle, but not before he brushes off these fangirls.
Why have you come?
Do you not know?
I cannot give you what you seek.
It's not you, it's really you. Her father isn't much better.
What other duty would you have me do, my lord?
I would have you smile again.
Come on, smile more, you're so pretty when you smile. Okay, I know what he's really trying to say, and it is noble, it's just unfortunate wording. At least he doesn't end with,
well, see you later.
Eowyn manages to take matters into her own hands, though.
Ride with me.
Yes, my lord. Oh, you're such an idiot. Meanwhile, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli go into the haunted house, where we get a pretty inventive ghost effect.
The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead.
You can usually see through ghosts in movies, but seeing all the way to their gum lines? That's pretty unique.
I summon you to fulfill your oath. The line was broken. It has been remade.
The minute my foot connected with your ass! Denethor panics when he sees not only his other son has fallen, but basically all of Mordor is at his door.
Flee! Flee for your life!
Yuck. Yuck.
Prepare for battle!
Oh, on second thought, flee, flee! He was right the first time, flee! The battle for Minas Tirith begins, as even though it goes on for about 45 minutes, it is never boring. It has a good variety of attacks and enemies and effects and situations that keep building upon each other, and at the heart of it is people we really want to see win the day. He really did that. Ian McKellen's stunt double really did all those moves. Frodo, meanwhile, is having his own troubles as Gollum has led him to the lair of Shelob, a giant spider. I should point out a lot of the buzz around Shelob wasn't that high because of the trailer we saw. You see, for a while, this was all we saw of her. From that perspective, perspective, she looks like a Zelda minion. Nothing really that threatening. But luckily the effects team put just as much effort into these effects as they did with the other effects, as I'm not afraid of spiders, but I am definitely afraid of this scene. I am not joking when I say the audience reaction every time I saw this was, oh my god, 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 oh my god. Frodo finally puts together Gollum betrayed him as, big surprise, he tries to take the ring. Into the pit of vagueness from Superman 2. The spider does end up getting him though, just as Sam returns to fight her off.
Let him go, you filth.
I can't believe I had the weirdest boner for you and James and the Giant Peach. Tell me if you've heard this in these films. Somebody's thought to be dead but isn't. Now don't freak out, Elijah Wood actually does sleep with his eyes open. I mean, if this was your environment, wouldn't you? But some orcs pick Frodo up, clarifying he's only stunned.
The scum will be awake in a couple of hours.
Then he'll wish he'd never been born.
Well, I'm the only one who's supposed to make him think that. The battle in Gondor isn't going much better.
No matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.
But thankfully, Rohan arrives to give assistance.
Forth, and fear no darkness! Right now!
Am I the only one, by the way, who wanted to see this happen? Asshole. Don't worry though, Aramir gets another one mid-ride. Seriously, who's handing him that? And I think it's scientifically proven that if some part of you doesn't go hard while watching this, you're clinically dead.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Even if upon rewatch, Mary Mannequin is a little distracting. How did I never notice that before?
Bring wood and oil.
Meanwhile, Denethor goes crazy and tries to burn both him and Faramir, who is still alive.
Set a fire in our flesh.
Are you sure we get to burn our boss alive?
Seems too good to be true.
How do we know this isn't a test so we can fire the ones who do and give a raise to the ones that don't?
Gandalf stops him as Pippin saves Faramir. Again, good redemption seeing how Boromir saved him. But Gandalf's like, I am done with this other guy. Again, this movie has a talent of taking that looks pretty funny to suddenly that is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. Speaking of which, the Oliphants arrive. Was it really the most imaginative name Tolkien could come up with? And they end up being hands down the best part of the movie. Fudgesicles.
We found the light!
As soon as these things popped up, I thought to myself, are we really so lucky to live in a time where we get to see this? Giant Hortons in war paint squashing an army like little green soldiers. This dude knows he's in the best scene in the movie. I love this guy. He's like, you brought a horse to a 10-story elephant fight! A moment of silence for my favorite throwaway character. Things aren't looking good for Gandalf and Pippin either.
I didn't think it would end this way.
End? No, the journey doesn't end here.
They'll torture us, burn us, cut off anything that won't kill us, but still result in a huge amount of pain.
What's your point?
My point is I'm afraid, Pippin.
From this moment on, you could count the applause moments audiences gave right on cue, right at the point they're supposed to. There's Eowyn beheading the Witch King's ride, protecting her father. Okay, I'll say it. That's what Sauron's show looked like! There's the perfectly timed arrival of Aragorn hopping out of the orc ships, pulling off the same trick Gandalf did from Two Towers, almost forgetting he was even in the movie. There's Eowyn's great comeback when the Witch King says no man can defeat him.
I am no man.
You see? Everything, that's how it's done! And of course there's Legolas literally taking out an Oliphant all by himself. Which is so goddamn silly, but it guides you through its goofy reasoning just enough where you're able to go, screw it, that's just badass.
That still only counts as one!
Even the lame Gimli line sounds cool after all that. Eowyn has to say goodbye to her father, though, who in the book had a bit more tragedy as he didn't know it was Eowyn who saved him, but I do like this callback to the previous film.
I know your face.
Grima, you do care.
I'm going to save you.
You already did.
Tell your sister you were right. Yeah, who isn't gonna think back to that line? Aragorn releases the ghost as he gave his word he would. He couldn't have originally made the deal to save Middle-earth and not just Gondor. While in Mordor, Sam makes his way to free Frodo. Maybe a little too easily. Okay, the orcs and Uruk-hai really don't like each other, I guess.
Give it to me.
Sam's hesitance to hand the ring over is a great way to emphasize again, really nobody is free from its corruption. It's a brief moment, but it's so effective because it's with this character.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. You can't go walking through Mordor and not with your skin.
Okay, movie, now you're trying to make people like me tell jokes. Aragorn suggests one last push at the gates of Mordor to allow Frodo one last chance to destroy the ring. This leads to another scene that should have been left in with the mouth of Sauron, not just because the scene looks really awesome, but because they give the impression to them that Frodo is dead.
Know that he suffered greatly at the hands of his host.
Which gives this line an incredibly different meaning.
For Frodo.
In the original cut, it's like, yeah, we know, that's why we're here. But in the extended version, they think they've lost, so they're doing one last charge in Frodo's memory. It changes a lot. But you know, if an elf and a dwarf can learn to get along.
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
You know any?
Sam tries to give Frodo the strength to carry on as he continues to fade.
Do you remember the Shire, Mr. Frodo? The orchards will be in blossom. And they'll be sowing the summer barley in the lower fields.
And you'll be in your summer dress.
No veil between me and the way of fire. Naked in the dark.
No need to bring up last Tuesday. Frodo does end up making it to the fires of Mount Doom, however, the power of the ring finally consumes him.
The ring is mine.
To ask you, Sam, will you marry... Ow! Gollum attacks and bites Frodo's finger off, and as they fight, they both get tossed over. There is something funny for as much as people were won over by Gollum, his exit is like... And he's basically Photoshop erased from the movie. No seeing what his kids look like in the future.
Give me your hand!
No, the one with more fingers! Sam saves Frodo, the ring is destroyed, Sauron goes boom, the war is over, but our two leads are left behind.
I can see the shine. Rosy cotton dancing. If ever I was to marry someone, it would have been her.
Frodo's like, really? Really? Huh. Really? And okay, this is where the onslaught of endings start, and as a rule, I think you're allowed one fake out. When this fade to black happened, some people actually started applauding, like that might be it. But then we fade back and see the eagle save them. Okay, that's alright. But then we get the moment that, let's face it, has been memed to death at this point.
Gandalf?
So I died. Because as far as I know, you're still dead. Oh, you're all dead! Wonderful! We were all a disappointment! What the hell were we thinking, walking the ring into Mordor? We had eagles right there! And yeah, Gandalf's laugh in slow-mo is basically the devil's laugh, right? We're given, let's be honest, a curtain call for most of these characters as we get another fake-out blackout. Again, people started applauding, but the film kept going.
Really? Still doing this?
Seeing Aragorn get crowned king, these two become an item off screen, and reunite with Arwen. Beautiful. This is still your horrific future, but beautiful. I will say though, this scene is so good, I'm surprised it wasn't in the book.
You bow to no one.
As your new rulers, we order all your shins to be chopped at the knees. We're gonna be height communists. We get yet another fake out where audiences started applauding as we cut to a map. But it turns out that was just leading us to the Shire where we see how the hobbits live out the rest of their days.
Seriously? Oh, for God's sake.
Frodo is still like, really? Rosie a woman?
How do you pick up the threads of an old life? How do you go on?
I don't know, you're doing a pretty good job right now. Frodo finds the wound from the knife is still with him, and even after finishing his book...
The Lord of the Rings.
That's the name of the movie! He decides to go with the elves and Bilbo to the Grey Havens.
You can't leave. The last pages are for you, Sam.
And so is this awkward as hell smile. A smile that says, it's not a cult. It's not a cult. We get yet another fake out audiences accidentally applaud at.
No, that's not.
And finally the story ends with Sam and his family.
I'm back.
Oh, I wish I was gay. So, okay, all these endings by themselves are fine, especially for wrapping up 3 very long movies. It's just the way they're paced together that doesn't work. I think that's why it bothered so many people, but it was nowhere near ruining the movie for anyone. Because, yeah, Return of the King is still easily the best one. Of course there's issues like with any of them, like I would have enjoyed if Aragorn had a few more kingly things to do to build up his role. And sure, there's little tidbits in the extended edition that should have been left in. But this movie is amazing and a fantastic way to end an epic trilogy. It opened the doors for more movies to be shot back to back, yet as far as I know, the world of Tolkien is the only mainstream universe to do 3 movies at the same time. It's an amazing gamble with amazing talent that thankfully led to an amazing achievement. And that's it. That's the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Really? It's over?
Oh.
Wait! We forgot to review The Hobbit!
Oh, we can't end the month without talking about...
Hey, where'd he go?
Hey, where'd the movie go?
I'm Jim. Good for you.
Oh, that's what's back here.
Critic! Don't do it!
But the trilogy is too good, we can't have this destroy it!
But think of it... Actually, I got nothing.
Think of the suffering. People love to see you suffer. For suffering, for comedy, for cringe!
All right. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. Where now is the source that had Strider? When did these films start blowing? Where is the Helm's Deep that once worked, with teary eyes flowing? Where is the land once inspiring, with great effects glowing? Where is the charm and the logic and the budget going? They have passed like piss in the toilet, like a fart in a men's room. These films have gone down like a pest drawn to greedy lights of Mount Doom. Who shall gather the smoke of past dead scripts burning, or behold the de-aged Legolas returning? How did it come to this? Anyway, this is the Hobbit movies. So after one of the greatest cinematic trilogies of all time won over just about everybody on planet Earth, Warner Bros. Decided that they liked the money an IP was pulling in and wanted more. So they decided to do what honestly wasn't a bad idea, a prequel to the Lord of the Rings movies because, well, one already existed, The Hobbit. The original setup was to have Guillermo del Toro direct, which is honestly another good idea. The Hobbit is structurally a different type of book compared to Lord of the Rings, as Tolkien wrote it more for kids and didn't plan to write his incredibly detailed future magnum opus in this world. So the idea of bringing in a director who specializes in the dark and strange, but also enchanting and whimsical seemed to make sense. The original thought was to tell it in 2 movies, despite the book being very, very short. But a lot does happen, and books are a different art form compared to movies, so this seemed to make sense enough. Del Toro partook in one of his favorite pastimes, though, abandoning a project. With production already in pretty deep, they turned to the guy who made it work the first time, Peter Jackson. Alright, yeah, I mean, these are very different types of stories, but Jackson proved to be very versatile. Again, this director would end up winning a Best Picture Oscar.
Who's the dirty person who did the great big stinky poo that's blocking up the toilet?
So it seemed like it could work. But not only was Jackson having a hard time keeping up with what Del Toro started and already being told he wouldn't have the same time and resources as the original trilogy, But some jackass decided, hey, we can make money, or we can make
money.
So they decided to make it 3 movies, which nobody understood. But again, many had faith in the project, and heck, it'll be nice to return to Middle-earth after being away for almost 10 years. This leads to part 1 of the 600-minute trilogy based on a 300-page book, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. So, okay, as much as I'm making fun of how much this trilogy was bad and unnecessary and a greedy corporate cash-in, I'll be honest, I love the hell out of this first one. As much as Return of the King? No. As much as Two Towers? No. But, hot take, I actually like this film more than Fellowship. Even though I totally acknowledge Fellowship is probably a better made movie. Again, it's hard to get angry at the problems of Fellowship because, like I said, it was a proof of concept film. It needed to get as many people on board for this trilogy as diligently as possible. As the films went on, though, audiences became more and more accepting that more time was going to be needed to make these stories as epic as they need to be. So when The Hobbit came around, there was less stress to prove itself worthy so it could take its time. Which is perfect for what a story like The Hobbit needs.
Splash the wine on every door, dump the crushed boiling bowl, pound them up with a thumping bowl.
It's more laid back, it moves slower, it allows you to feel like you can breathe in this world and not squeeze in as much information as possible. You know how they cut Tom Bombadil out because they said he just wouldn't fit in the original trilogy? He would totally fit in this film. It's more relaxed and allows you to move at a slower pace. Now some may say, maybe it does a little too much of that. The story centers around Bilbo, now played by Martin Freeman, who's randomly approached by Gandalf saying he could use him to help a dwarf named Thorin, played by Richard Armitage, and his team of 12 other dwarves to get back their mountain of gold which was stolen from them by a dragon named Smaug.
Can I help you? I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure. It'll be very good for you. Most amusing for me.
And while yes, there's certainly other things that happen in the story, that's the main gist of it, and for the most part, it doesn't lose track of that. The film has to mix the complicated world building of Lord of the Rings with the simple world building of The Hobbit, despite them both taking place in Middle-earth. And in my opinion, it mixes a lot better than it has any right to. I complained over and over how the editing felt too rushed in Fellowship, so it was hard to feel like you were really in this world with these characters. A world and characters people praised for years felt very real in the books. And again, I get it, you have to travel from place to place and introduce all these characters while not having the same amount of time you usually would have in a book. This film goes the opposite direction though. When you go somewhere, you're there for a while, and it lets you sink in as much atmosphere as possible. You don't catch the tail end of a song, you get to hear the whole song.
The winds were moaning in the night.
You don't cut back and forth between a battle of wits with Gollum and Bilbo and something else. You're allowed to see the entire battle of wits.
What have I got in my pocket?
Houses! Wrong, guess again.
Now granted, a lot of your enjoyment is gonna rely on how much patience you have for this. I love Middle-earth, I love these characters, and so much of what people like about Tolkien's writing is that it engulfs you in the world he creates. And that's what I get out of this one. Even the additional stuff added to the story works okay for me. I don't mind giving the dwarves a big bad orc chasing them down. I mean, most of the movies have a big bad orc in them. The conversation between the elves and wizards is pretty cool to see, and we get a better idea what Saruman was like before he turned evil, plus why he was so trustworthy. And I like Bilbo has to choose to go on his adventure. He goes back and forth on it, and at first he turns it down, but then decides maybe something like this would be good for him. It's such a simple thing, but I really think it goes a long way and adds a lot to his character.
Don't stop, I'm already late! Late for what? I'm going on an adventure!
Not everything works. You probably noticed a lot of the CG looks very rushed, especially the main orc and the de-aging effects. Oh, don't worry, they get even better. There's an additional climax tagged on at the end I didn't think was needed. I mean, man, ending after Gollum gives the best scene in the movie would have been perfect. And I don't know what this guy's about.
It's just a little stick insect.
I just don't know what this guy's about. But honestly, and I know I'm in a minority here, this is the Fellowship of the Ring I always wanted. It had more patience, more of a gentle charm, but it also didn't shy away from having a dangerous edge as well. It'll go weird and dark in a way that I feel speaks to the kid audience it was originally written for, but also connects with adults who are used to the original trilogy.
That'll do it.
I don't care what anyone says, I love this flick. It's fun, it's creative, and it's a smaller story without feeling like you've been cheated out of something bigger. Overall, it looks like this series was off to a good start. Yeah, don't get used to that. Part 2, The Desolation of Smaug, is where things go downhill fast. And again, I think a lot of it comes down to these had to be 3 movies. There just isn't enough material for 3, so they made a ton of shit up that clearly doesn't belong. So on paper, not a ton really needs to happen. Our heroes have to battle a giant spider, they escape some elves, they make it to a town just outside the mountain, and then they go in the mountain to defeat the dragon. That sounds totally doable for an 1.5-hour movie. Too bad it's over 2.5 hours long. Yeah, so while I feel like the majority of fans probably look at Peter Jackson directing these like,
it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
This is the one thing I can't excuse, the length of these movies. What advantage is there to have these films over 2.5 hours? A shorter film would get more screenings in theaters, hence more money, so I don't follow it. But okay, like the other trilogy, they have to squeeze in a lot. I mean, just so much damn material, so we'll give them the extra time. Oh wait, no they don't. I could read the entire book in the amount of time it takes me to watch this movie, which is only part 2 of said book. Why? So they can pad it out for some mysterious reason. We need Freckles the elf to have her own story. Gandalf needs to journey with Tom Bombadouche to see that Sauron is back. Yeah, remember in the first film when he was so puzzled by the ring, so he went to do research and saw Mount Doom bubbling and eventually put together that Sauron's not dead? Well, maybe you could skip all that and just remember back to the fact that he saw Sauron's not dead! That main orc from before just vanishes, so a lot of tension with him is gone. We spent a lot of time in this town getting to know these instantly forgettable people we're apparently supposed to care about. Hey, do girls still like Legolas? Well, let's slap some Uncanny Valley makeup on him to change their minds on that. You see, he's upset because Freckles is in love with one of the dwarves. Now, you might think that's incredibly unnecessary and stupid, and you'd be correct, but I have to give it a little bit of credit because that at least makes this dwarf somewhat stand out. As bafflingly, this film decides not to develop these 13 characters who are constantly on screen, and instead creates new ones out of thin air. These poor actors who had to spend hours and hours in makeup chairs are basically mute throughout the entire trilogy. There's only 3 who are developed. Thorin, because he's the lead dwarf, Baleen, so we can know who Gimli was headbutting, and Freckles' boyfriend, who I know has a name, but that is literally the only thing that sets him apart from the others. Everyone else is furniture, and because they do so little, I start to notice more and more how distracting their makeup is. They look less like dwarves and more like inside-out Oompa Loompas. And even all this, I could forgive if it wasn't maliciously boring. Remember the spider I brought up earlier? I completely forgot that was a plot point in this until I rewatched it. The franchise with the scariest spider in cinematic history, I forgot even did another one in these movies. Almost nobody does or says anything of interest. All these great actors are giving their all for lines that you'll forget right after hearing them. And maybe the most insulting, this film is ugly. Every once in a while there's a pretty image, but going from the beautiful landscapes of the original trilogy and even the previous film to most of the shots looking like the lens was cleaned with fish guts is just not acceptable. How do we go from the angelic majesty of these vibrant mountains to a helmet cam from a Whitewater YouTube channel? It's actually pretty hard to comprehend. Now with that said, I do think there's 2 scenes that work very well, and big surprise, they're very similar to the book. One is, despite some of the camera work, the barrel chase. I think it's fun and goofy and has a lot of creative energy. Some people say this looks too silly. What is this, a kid's story? Yes. Number 2 is the scene from Smaug. Now I'll be honest, Smaug doesn't look nearly as good as what they were building up. Like, they were promoting this showing Benedict Cumberbatch in a motion capture suit. Like, this is gonna be the next Gollum. First off, it never looks like he's there. He looks like that Sean Connery dragon at a Scar type brother. Second, Gollum looks enough like a human that you can capture a human performance with an actor. What the hell is dressing up Doctor Strange like a robo-dolphin gonna do? Ooh, that's so how Cumberbatch would move his wing. This doesn't make sense. Despite that, these 2 give really good performances here. really capturing the somewhat playful yet still very intimidating nature of this scene.
I merely wanted to gaze upon your magnificence.
Do you think flattery will keep you alive?
No.
No, indeed.
Again, for all the film's faults, everybody is clearly giving their all in this. But sadly, it's not enough. Because it's boring, ugly, pointlessly long, and straight up doesn't capture the source material most of the time. It's a huge step down from its previous installment. So, is the final film any better? No. This one's just about as bad as the last one, but I guess I can give it credit. Sometimes it's so bad, it is kind of fascinating. I'll be honest, the last one left such a bad taste in my mouth, I didn't even bother to see this one in theaters. A Middle-earth movie on the big screen, and it just didn't seem worth it to me. These films were feeling like homework. I could not find why any of this was supposed to be interesting. As far as I was concerned, the film seemed done. The dragon was out, they got the gold, what else was left? Well, in the book, Smaug burns up the town that helped the dwarves, and some of the dwarves feel bad about it. However, Thorin comes down with dragon sickness, which corrupts his mind with greed and paranoia. This causes him to turn his back on the villagers, dismiss an army of elves who literally just want a necklace that I think they explained in a throwaway sentence why it's worth going to war for, and also prepare for a battle with the big bad orc from the first film. Wasn't it nice of them to write him back into the story? And if you're like, wait, that's only 4 armies, well, there's dune worms. Oh, and these bats, as well as some eagles. Yeah, they really don't care who fills that number 5 slot. Now, this film is clearly bad, but there were some things I was digging. I didn't think I'd get into the dragon sickness story, but this actor played it so well, I was kind of on board.
I have been blind. Now I begin to see. One of them is false.
I believed how it took him over, and I legit felt bad for this one guy who put his life on the line for him. Smaug goes from a mini-boss in Skyrim to a pretty intimidating presence early on. I'm actually almost legit scared of this thing.
Is that your child? He will burn.
And despite a film series called The Hobbit focusing very little on The Hobbit, he's almost always the best character in every scene he's in. For all the needless subplots these movies have, I always feel like I know what this guy is about. It's always easy to identify with him, and they keep him interesting.
I picked it up in Bayon's garden. One day it'll grow, and every time I look at it, I'll remember how lucky I am that I made it home.
But yes, we still have to wrap up these pointless subplots, like Gandalf and his crew looking like Hogwarts teachers fighting in a Power Rangers episode. Freckles and What's-His-Name finishing up their lame romance.
Why does it hurt so much?
Because it was real.
You knew him for a day! Easily the most obnoxious comic relief in Middle-earth with the king's minion named Alfred.
Why me?
This guy makes me want to give Gimli the Mark Twain Award, he's so awful. He adds nothing, isn't funny, and if you just typed in unpleasant in a 3D printer, this is what it would create.
We don't want no tramps, beggars, nor vagabonds.
Show your father some respect.
Coward. Coward? Not every man's brave enough to wear a corset.
He's like Jack Sparrow, slow as sperm, impregnated a mud puddle. The army of dwarves is led by the Polar Express here.
You hear that, lads? We're on! Let's give these bastards a good hammering!
I know the shoot was crazy, but could you really not just throw a guy in makeup for this? Hell, you could take one of these forgettable dwarves, exactly how they look, slap a helmet on them, and nobody would tell the difference. It's bad, but I will admit I was getting through it a little easier than the last one. By the time I got to the Battle of the 5 Armies, I remember thinking, alright, I can tolerate another 20 minutes of this or so, that can't be real. That can't be real. We're only halfway through, and the rest of the movie is just the battle? Okay, yeah, Middle-earth battles are famously long, but they have the courtesy of making us care. What am I supposed to be invested in here? That pretty princess necklace? The town of which one guy I sorta care about? The dwarves who, as far as I'm concerned, already completed their mission? No. I'm clearly supposed to care about the bats. Seriously, who's slot 5? The only thing that keeps me from hating this film as much as the last one is occasionally the fight is so crazy it does get a giggle. Like I legit love this moment. Oh, buddy. Legolas has to have another impossible moment, which at first I thought this was it. Okay, that's adequately stupid. I'm okay with that. But then, like the basis of this whole trilogy, they got too greedy, to where I couldn't believe what I was watching half the time. Bet you didn't know the elves were part Mario, brother. I hope my family knows to duck in the exact mathematically correct position. Oh, that's lucky. And maybe the dumbest, which, as you've noticed, is quite impressive at this point, is the final battle with the main orc. After somehow playing a sillier version of Don't Break the Ice, the orc falls into the freezing water. But wait, he has to make sure he's actually dead. I don't think he can hurt you anymore, buddy. Have to be quite the dedication to a performance to fake you out for that long.
Nuh-uh. No.
Christ, this is stupid. For as crazy as the crazy scenes were before, they had a loose but still consistent line of reasoning. Now, every fight is Legolas taking down an Oliphant. If science didn't exist! Even for a story that was originally supposed to be for kids, this is jumping whatever a Middle-earth shark is. These last two movies are just so bad. When Bilbo and Gandalf just sit like they're so done with this shit, that should have been the box set for the trilogy. Because nothing sums it up better than that. So yeah, you got an unexpected good start, the desolation of a franchise, and the battle of 5 hours. This just didn't work. I am happy we got that first film, though. Like I said, this was the start I wish Lord of the Rings had, but what it amounts to just didn't feel justified. Can I say this is one of the worst trilogies ever? No, when you've seen as many flicks as I have, you know this doesn't offend nearly as bad. But it is very disappointing after such an impressive accomplishment with the first trilogy. Had they kept it to 2 movies and maybe spent their time making the actual main characters instead of making up new ones, maybe there would have been something. It's crazy to think this is the most expensive trilogy ever made, yet the majority of it looks terrible. Now, my guess is this is a Justice League or Solo scenario where, because a director left and so much had to be redone, the cost went up. Almost like shooting an entirely new movie. So on some level, I can understand some of these cut corners. It's the fact that they never kept a strong focus on the original narrative or even the new narrative they constructed. Peter Jackson admitted through a lot of the trilogy he was just winging it, and yeah, I guess I wouldn't want to be in his shoes trying to pick up the pieces of this broken production, while also trying to make the studio happy and stay true to what made the original film so great. But in a series where the most unlikely of characters end up walking tall, this series sadly ends coming up short. And that's it. That's finally the end of Lord of the Rings month. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and I'm done. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it?
Sigh.
Hello?
Sigh.
Why, do you have something to say, real Tolkien fan?
Oh, I was just sighing at the misfortune that you have to review that god-awful animated Lord of the Rings.
The Ralph Bakshi one? No, I mean, I've talked about it before in the past, and even though I do like the Jackson films more, I do think there's a lot of good things about it.
No, there's not.
Well, I'm sorry it did nothing for you, but I actually got quite a bit out of it.
No, you didn't.
Dude, how do you know what I got out of it?
Because no real fan would enjoy something so beneath us.
Oh, is that so, real movie fan? God, your parents give you weird names.
Yes, we smelt the stench of this film and wanted to congratulate you for tearing it apart.
Look, I know this film isn't that beloved, but honestly, I think it gets way too much hate.
Gasp!
Double gasp.
I hope you mean that ironically.
No, I legit really like this film.
Are you not aware of the masterpieces that are the Peter Jackson movies?
Though wait, are we at the point where we dislike them yet?
No, we have to wait for one more botched Tolkien project, and then we can say we always thought they were overrated.
Okay, I know a lot of people make fun of this movie, especially after the Peter Jackson trilogy came out, but I still think there's a lot to praise about it.
Nope, there's nothing.
Not one thing, huh?
It's just a crazy film by a crazy man who doesn't understand cinema or Tolkien.
You want to say that to my face, you elitist bastards?
Oh, great. You got Ralph Bakshi involved.
So what?
He's kind of like social distancing. Far away, there's a lot to study. Up close, it might be dangerous.
Well, good thing we're extremely far away.
Oh, hey, you got something on your face. Come closer.
Oh? How did you do that?
Things rarely make sense with him.
Oh yeah, well, Peter Jackson took years to film his masterpieces, and you lazily told people to draw. I appreciate where the real talent is at.
Oh, you're so right. That's why I mailed you a present for being so smart.
Oh, so you have. Well, how kind of you to kindly be so kind.
How dare you call me lazy, you brainless babbling bimbo! Do you know how many armies I had to direct in the freezing cold? How many directors said this couldn't be filmed? How many fans, including Peter Jackson, may not have heard of Lord of the Rings if it weren't for me?
Yeah, maybe we should give a little background before we go any further. First off, nobody, including the people that made it, would call this film perfect. But it did take more steps in furthering recognition for both animation and Tolkien than many give credit. In the 70s, animation was in kind of a strange time. Disney was turning out very few films, and what they did turn out was not as mind-blowing as they once were. So this opened the door for other animators to experiment. Ralph Bakshi found success making animation for adults with a risque style that, much like the man himself, people either love or hate. I love them, if for any other reason, just to see how many people would be offended watching them today.
Why does a great actor like James Earl Jones always have to play black men?
God, I love these movies. But with that said, the idea of Ralph Bakshi making a Lord of the Rings movie seemed as odd as, well, Peter Jackson making a Lord of the Rings movie. Much like Jackson, though, Bakshi pushed the envelope of what could be done in his field and combined his weird take on the world with the love and respect he had for Tolkien's work. Thus, the film ambitiously tried a style of animation rarely tackled on such a grand scale, rotoscope. The art of filming your subject and then animating over them to place them in different styles and environments. Nowadays, people do this all the time with CG and motion capture, but back then, this was the closest you had to putting any character of any design in any world of any design. It was a type of filmmaking that would morph over the years into something that's now very common. With that said, it still didn't have the budget a film like this needed, resulting in a lot of inconsistencies and maybe some artistic choices that would make more sense in Fritz the Cat than Lord of the Rings. But that's also part of what makes it so unique. It really isn't a film you can categorize in one box. So, even though I've compared this film to Jackson's in the past, I want to take a closer look at it just on its own, to see what works, what doesn't, and even what could never fall into either category. So let's look at the good, the bad, and whatever you call the strangeness of Bakshi.
Do you mind if I'm upside down for a minute?
Sure.
Thank you.
That doesn't make sense, and therefore it's bad.
Boom! You're a dog's head now.
So I am.
This is 1978's Lord of the Rings. The film opens with simple but effective shadow play, giving the backstory about the One Ring to rule them all, made by the Dark Lord Sauron.
With the One Ring, Middle-earth's his, and he cannot be overcome.
Even the elves' dog and bunny impressions did nothing. The ring is chopped off and passed from person to person, eventually ending up in the hands of a hobbit named Gollum, who will look less like Doc Brown with Wreck-It Ralph hands. It's found by Bilbo Baggins the Hobbit, who takes it home to the Shire, currently being directed by Rankin Bass, and decides years later it's time to leave. His friend Gandalf the Wizard wishes him well-ish.
Have you left the ring for Frodo as we agreed?
It's mine, I tell you. My precious.
Do not say that again.
Don't make me slap you with my ring finger! Oh, that's right, I'm not married. Give me that. He snaps him back to his senses, and Bilbo leaves never to return.
17 years passed sleepily in the Shire.
In a very sloppy edit.
Gandalf!
I was about a half hour from the Jackson film in 6 minutes. Usually there's bunnies or an ADD idiot required for such a crunch.
It's the ring, isn't it? Bilbo's funny magic ring. You always used to look like that when you talked about it.
That is one of the things you'll notice, though. Because it is so short and they have to cram in so much, every scene counts. They have to make you feel like this world is real, establish these characters, make you like these characters, and squeeze in a buttload of story. And with almost 1/3 the running time and 1/11 the budget, it's amazing they did this as well as they did. Usually keeping good pacing and an animation style that was very mature for its time. Compare this to what Disney was putting out a year earlier. There was usually big movements, goofy voices, kid-friendly stuff like most animation then. This moved more dramatically, quietly. It wasn't afraid to give you slower moments despite being in such a time crunch. But with that said, it is still a Bakshi film, which of course means there's gonna be some weird over-the-top moments as well. Like how about this weird pointing?
You are the one who has the ring now.
What are you gonna do, shoot me with that thing? Jesus! It's almost silent film acting, which creates a strange contrast sometimes with the usually grounded voiceovers.
Until he passes into the world of shadows.
And always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom.
Even Frodo sometimes gives a face like, what the hell is going on right now? Regardless, the film still holds your attention as Gandalf tells Frodo the ring is evil and he cannot use it, as he will become too dangerous.
Then I suppose I must keep the ring and guard it. And I ought to go away somewhere alone. They won't bother the Shire if the ring isn't here.
I know I've said it before, but I really do like the way this film gets going better than the other one. I think a lot of that is because Frodo takes more initiative and responsibility in this. He doesn't just solve a riddle and then fall or cry. Sometimes both. For all the pros this movie has, though, it does cost us a Gamgee.
What have you heard? And why did you listen?
Oh, Mr. Frodo, sir.
What is that performance? Why are you acting that way? Stop it.
Don't let him turn me into anything unnatural.
Yeah, I guess the idea of Sam was he was supposed to be the comedic levity the same way Merry and Pippin were in the Jackson film. But, man, every time I see him, he gets worse.
Me go and see the elves? Oh, my. Oh, hooray! We're going home!
On the one hand, I guess the exaggerated simplicity does make his dedication to Frodo all the more touching. Not that way. You know what? Take it that way. I don't care anymore. But I'm sorry, the Sam from the book does not deserve doody-doo music. Despite Samite ain't, Frodo starts his journey bringing Merry and Pippin along as Gandalf meets Saruman at Skeletor's hideout.
I have come for your aid in troubled times. The Nine are abroad. Darkness approaches. The Black Riders.
God, I want to start every conversation that way. I have come for your aid in troubled times. The Nine are abroad. Darkness approaches. The Black Riders.
I'm changing my number.
I'm honestly shocked it took you this long. But Gandalf discovers Saruman is totally Slytherin.
A new age is upon us. A new power is rising.
You are saying that we should join with Mordor?
You are the worst Santa in our mall order. You wish the children happy life day, don't you?
Would you rather see the Dark Lord have it, or Saruman of many colors?
Saruman flashes Gandalf and leaves him on top of his tower via Jackson Pollock's staff. Our Hobbit friends aren't doing much better as they're confronted by a Black Rider. I like how a little more twisted and otherworldly he looks, though the sounds he makes can be a little much. Was that a sound of defeat or a guy getting a blowjob while stretching? Pippin admit they're aware of Frodo's mission, and they're coming with him whether he likes it or not.
You can trust us to stick to you through thick and thin, to the bitter end. But you cannot trust us to let you face trouble alone and go off without a word.
It's funny, Merry and Pippin in this version feel more like real people, but not real people I know very well. Where in Jackson's film, they feel more like movie characters, but they're very fleshed out movie characters. While I like this version fine, I will admit I don't really know the difference between them, apart from Merry's the one that makes this weird Humphrey the Bear face.
bless you, you deceitful scoundrels. Hooray!
They make it to the inn where the animation looks a little... too real? This is in part because the cinematographer who shot the footage to rotoscope said he could solarize it, overexposing the film and coloring it to make it look more real and save time. On characters like the orcs it looks good, but on regular people it doesn't gel as well as the more expressive line work. The backgrounds you may notice also are a little inconsistent, sometimes bright and colorful and other times more sketchy, like out of a book illustration.
Exactly. Less consistency means less art.
You say something, Colonel Dingus?
It was her!
Huh?
That does bring up a good question, Bakshi. Why do the backgrounds vary? I mean, sometimes they look like something out of Sleeping Beauty, and other times they don't even look entirely finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want one style like in the Jackson films?
They are pretty.
And consistent.
What was that?
Her again.
You see, in animation, you're not just bound to one style. Like in American Pop, the backgrounds reflected the style of whatever time period we were in. So why not do the same thing with fantasy? In a calmer and more relaxed environment, you could go for more solid lines and cooler colors. In a more rustic environment, you could go for more of a paperback illustration. And in a more threatening environment, go more abstract and become more intense and otherworldly. You see, you can't do that in live action. Only animation. Why settle for one style of fantasy when you could have several?
Well, it's certainly throwing everything at the dartboard to see what sticks.
Actually, that inspires me.
Really? While going for a walk, Mary is exposed to Confunk and passes out. Back at the end, the hobbits come across Aragorn, played by John Hurt. A lot of people took issue that he looked different from the book, having more of a Native American design. Imagine replacing a white dude with a different ethnicity. Next you'll be telling me the live-action reference for Frodo was a woman. But John Hurt's performance still gives me chills for how good it is.
Lothlorien is a place of healing. There is no evil in it, unless a man brings evil there with him.
I can see Viggo Mortensen as a ranger, but not as king. This dude, I can easily see as both, even when he says lines like this.
They'll come on you in the wild.
Okay, that's a different Bakshi movie.
Frodo, I've seen them!
Oh! Son of a bitch! I don't need this. I was the first one to die in Alien.
Save us.
Strider came to offer me his help.
In your place, I wouldn't take up with a ranger out of the wild.
Did I mention my split personality? It changes opinions in literally seconds.
Save us. In your place, I wouldn't take up with a ranger out of the wild.
Did I miss something?
I really love how Aragorn makes it clear he's not messing around in this scene, though it is a little jaded when you see his weapon.
If I wanted the ring for myself, I could have it. Now.
Oh, damn it, a full sword was supposed to come out of that. Please be intimidated. Just imagine it's sharp at the end of that. The hobbits agree to go with him, as later that night, the Black Riders sneak in and give a harsh wake-up call. Use your words, Frank. He's always like this when he doesn't get his Applejacks. What the hell? They fool the Black Riders, and they make their way toward Weathertop.
But Luthien Tenuvio was the daughter of a king of elves.
It's pretty cool that Aragorn tells a story that will mirror his own, with an elf falling in love with a human, sacrificing her immortality for him. And it's nice foreshadowing, even if it's only explored in the Jackson films.
She followed him, and so he was her doom. But he was her love as well.
Oh, and her life force was also tied to a ring of power. For absolutely no reason. Yeah, that will never make sense. The Black Riders surround our heroes, who are terrified and maybe a little stoned, but Frodo puts on the ring.
No! Hi, guy.
The Black Riders are chased off, and the shard slowly starts to make its way into Frodo's heart. No, I thought Arwen wasn't in this movie.
Legolas!
They come across Legolas, played by Anthony Daniels. And I never did mind that both versions switched up who they come across, as in the book they're approached by Glorfindel.
Who?
Exactly. So I think this makes more sense.
I have been on the road for 9 days.
Mr. Frodo's been on the road a lot longer than that, and he needs a rest.
Am I gonna have to cut a hobbit? The Black Riders catch up, but luckily they have Aragorn to protect them. They have Legolas to protect them.
Fly, the enemy is upon us.
You know, Frodo, just run. entirely sure why everything goes slower here, like he put the ring on, or why Frodo suddenly sounds like a 10-year-old in this one line. Go back! Maybe he went through the same 5 puberties the Sword and the Stone kid did.
Oh, Sir Actor! Whoa, what? Whoa!
But the scene is still creepy, like something out of a fever dream.
Tomorrow we will take you.
They sound nice. Take a chance. The river rises up against the evil riders, and Frodo wakes up in Rivendell.
Verily I come. I give it unto you. No, never.
Get off me, Sam!
Yes, I am here.
They heal Frodo up, and Gandalf tells him how he escaped from Saruman.
The great eagle Gwahir came in answer to my call. Saruman has never paid enough attention to animals.
Much to his father, Sam Eagle's discontent.
Freakles 1, Civilization 0.
He's reunited with Bilbo, who, naturally, wants to see the One Ring one more time.
Put it away.
They call a council where many have different ideas what should be done with the One Ring.
I am Boromir. In a dream, I heard a voice crying to me, "Seek for the sword that was broken."
Here is the sword of Elendil of Gondor.
Okay, I know I said I wouldn't do that many comparisons to the Jackson films, as I really do like them more and I think they're better put together, but God, I love how they talk in this film. It's in the other version too, but you also have pandering lines like central nervous systems and dwarf women have beards and mission quest thing. Here, they just go for it. Everyone talks with that epic demeanor that was in the book. When someone starts off a sentence with, "in a dream," I actually want to know what that dream's about. As opposed to that friend who's just going to end the sentence with, "Isn't that weird?"
In a dream, I heard a voice crying to me, "Seek for the sword that was broken."
And you had these wooden teeth.
How do you like that?
Frodo says it makes the most sense for him to go to Mordor and drop the ring into Mount Doom. Thus the Fellowship is formed to help him on his journey. The storm gets too powerful though, so they discuss the possibility of going through the Mines of Moria.
We might go by way of the Gap of Rohan.
That would take the ring too close to Isengard and Aruman.
Okay, I always wonder, Bakshi, how come half the time they don't say Saruman, they say Aruman? They drop the S.
Well, that was the studio's fault.
Really? Seems like an odd call.
Oh yeah, no, get this. Halfway through, one of the producers decided that Sauron and Saruman sounded so similar. So he decided to change his name to Aruman.
To the wizard Aruman. And Aruman.
Perhaps it should have been his friend Aruman.
No, it must be Aruman.
It's Aruman.
By the time I found this out, the lines were already recorded, and I couldn't get every actor back to re-record them.
Really? You couldn't do ADR?
Well, we did it in one scene.
But he said to leave as soon as we could. And Merry and Pippin insisted on coming with us as far as Bree.
Okay, maybe it's best you didn't try.
I guess I could have made an S sound and put it at the beginning of his name.
How long since Aruman? Only because Aruman is kind. Aruman's poison too close to Isengard and Aruman.
Better?
Stranger.
That means it's better!
Makes it to the mine's entrance when Tentacle Hentai grabs Frodo. Come in, Mr. Frodo! Oh, thank God I'm saved. I love how Boromir pushes Sam like he's not even helping in the slightest. He can't even stand after such a light nudge. Yes, Sam, you're saving the day. Piss off and play with your G.I. Joes, little idiot.
Into the gateway, all of you!
And stay in! They slowly but surely make their way through, with Gandalf staying calm and collected.
Be quiet, Pippin. Be still. What's that? Be quiet, both of you. Throw yourself in next time.
I don't want to stay here.
I almost slapped you! But orcs attack.
The Shire!
Arg me, Mouseketeers! Yeah, she was a Mouseketeer too. Spin the wheel of random.
Come no closer! Come no closer, I warn you!
Oh, I can't believe that worked. Could you stab yourselves next? That'd be very helpful. They're approached by the Balrog, and Gandalf breaks the bridge, causing him to fall. Which, seeing how he has wings, I question. He takes Gandalf with him, and our heroes mourn by leaning on each other. Literally, Legolas leans on Pippin. What the hell?
Out of Moria into the Golden Wood. Is there no way less perilous?
They make it to Lothlorien, which looks pretty and all, but something about Galadriel and Celeborn always looked like they were part of a furniture showroom.
I am Galadriel, and this is my lord Celeborn.
Welcome to our variety show. I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. The elves sing a song about Gandalf, which sadly isn't played in its entirety. Check out the full song if you can, it's actually quite beautiful. And Galadriel brings Sam and Frodo to a fountain to see what could be in their future.
And not all have yet come to pass. Some never come to be.
So, like YouTube conspiracy theories?
Pretty much, yes.
Feeling the weight of the ring, Frodo offers it to Galadriel.
I will give you the One Ring, if you ask for it. It's too great a matter for me.
Okay. Galadriel's house, bitches!
You will set up a queen, stronger than the foundations of the earth. All shall love me and despair.
Oh, is that what it does? I had no idea!
They leave Lothlorien and continue on their quest.
For Gondor and the House of Isildur.
For Gondor and the city of Minas Tirith.
I'm not putting my sword down till you do.
I had it up first.
Mine was more poetic.
Fine, we'll just stand like this the whole boat ride.
Great.
Terrific.
Splendid.
I have to pee.
Me too. Boromir confronts Frodo, asking for the ring to defend his people, but Frodo refuses, knowing it will turn anyone who wears it to evil.
And for themselves they may be right, these elves and half-elves and wizards, but true-hearted men will not be corrupted.
You don't keep track of American anything, do you? Boromir tries to take it for himself, and Frodo flees. Sam finds him trying to sneak away on a boat.
If I hadn't have guessed right, where would you be now?
Safely on my way.
Safely? All alone and without me to help you?
I love how they're so deep in conversation they're not aware that they're technically rowing in opposite directions. It'd be so funny if everyone got to the Black Gate in Return of the King and it was like, for Frodo. There'd be 3 more movies just wondering where the hell they are. Merry and Pippin, though, come across orcs nearby.
Earthling.
We prefer vertically impaired. Boromir tries to save them, but in a grisly scene right out of Game of Thrones, arrow after arrow leads to his bloody death.
Boromir.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Go to Minas Tirith. Save my people.
I will go.
My animation might be a little Bible school, but I'll get there. Boromir dies, and the remaining Fellowship decide to go after Merry and Pippin captured by the orcs. Sheesh, I know you're in pain, but do you have to sound like Shemp Howard drowning? They're stopped by Eromir's men, and I will admit this is the only part of the movie that really drags. It's kind of confusing, but I think they're at a standstill, and every once in a while one may attack, and then they're at a standstill again, and it all looks pretty ugly. The biggest fight seems to be with the orcs deciding how many arrows to use.
No shooting, wasting arrows, dunghill swine.
And you 6 on the left, move! You look like Vegas mimes who died.
It's no good groping in the dark.
Well, that upped the rating. One of the soldiers saves them, and they escape to come across a talking tree.
Not a tree herder.
Bet you didn't know Christopher Lee was in both these versions. I think he even modeled for this one.
You may call me Toribia.
That's an odd name. Isn't that like calling a person Manstache? Awkward animation at 12 o'clock.
Tree killing orcs and their masters.
Did their applause need a minute to load? What was that? Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam are approached by the walking turd Gollum, who is not very cooperative.
I think your rope might prove useful again, Sam.
No.
Jesus, it's like asking a Karen to put on a mask.
Smeagol will be very good.
They get him to calm down and lead them to Mount Doom, while Aragorn and the others have a surprise visitor of their own. I am Gandalf. That moment passed.
Gandalf.
He explains what happened after he and the Balrog fell.
until at last he fled back up the secret ways of Moria, above the mists of the world.
Wait, no, you're supposed to have landed on top of another mountain. Yeah, how did they explain that? He tells them of the attack that's about to occur on Helm's Deep, and the importance of getting King Theoden to protect it.
Theoden has grown old and leaves everything in the hands of his new minister, Reimer Wormtongue.
He was going to go with another advisor, Shirley Happy Truth Teller, but he had a gut feeling about the name Wormtongue, you know? So they follow Gandalf the White, Grey, or K White, and they put Wormtongue in his place. Theoden is told about his lies and asks Reimer if he truly is working for Saruman.
I will not harm you. Is it so?
Does that count as a no?
My sister-daughter.
My sister, my daughter!
Eowyn, my only loyal kin.
My backstory is... oh, never mind. Just over 2 hours, forgot. Theoden gets his army ready, leading to one of the film's more cryptic moments.
Aragorn, my lord, is there any hope for us?
Does that count as a no? Okay, you need to read the room. The armies are in place, the sky goes red, and we begin... honestly, a really friggin' awesome battle. The red makes the orcs look like something right out of hell. The music is just as cryptic as anything from Howard Shore's score. And this is the first time an animated film could show a battle with hundreds of people on a scale like this.
Well, nowadays you would just CGI all that shit, but we couldn't do that. So we had to film the armies attacking the castle, and then not only draw over them, but place more soldiers in the background so it appeared larger than it was.
But even knowing that, there's still a battle you had to shoot outside a castle with all these extras.
Yeah, it took forever to set those shots up. In fact, after God knows how long to get all the extras in place and their actions synchronized, a producer yelled, "Launch!" before I could even get the shot. So some of the footage you see is literally them walking to lunch.
Oh, so that's why some of them are holding sandwiches.
Yes, but the battle in the other film had more stunts and looked more realistic, therefore it was better.
Oh yeah, well sure, you could do more stunts when you're freaking invincible! They leap into certain death 1,000,000 times and never get a scratch on them! If I did that, they'd say I made it too cartoony! I knew if I wanted people to take it seriously, it had to be more violent and gory! When someone gets hacked, it really feels like someone's getting hacked!
They don't always have the best strategies, though. Like, look here. Arrows are being fired and no one takes cover.
That's your biggest problem? How about asking why they're using a battering ram on a wall with the doors right there?
Oh, yeah. Wait, did you just help make my point?
Well, I mean, that depends. Is that you screaming from a monster's mouth?
Oh god, not again! Huh?
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a break, sweetie.
That's very kind.
Oh no, Emerald Boom is attacking with his fireworks.
We're being attacked by hot dogs!
Saruman sends his magic to break down the walls, forcing the armies to retreat into the caves.
I will not end here. Will you ride with me then? We may make such an end as will be worth a song.
Who'd sing the song?
Maroon 5? I'm out. Let's see how Frodo and Sam are doing.
Mustn't rest here, silly Hobbit.
They're fine. Back to the kick-ass battle. After a great scene where they sound the charging horn, which confuses the orcs, so they run away, it's actually really funny. Rohan rides out and gets a few good kills before they appear to be outnumbered. The film does a good job making you think this might actually be their last stand before, everything started that fake out. But Gandalf brings an army in time, as well as the theme to Star Trek IV. They fight back the orcs. Gandalf throws his sword in the air. It presumably falls on Legolas. Ah! Didn't even get a 3PO joke. And we're given one of the main reasons people hated this movie when it first came out.
That ends the first part of the history of the War of the Ring.
Yep, nobody was told this was a two-parter. Despite Bakshi saying people would be pissed, the film was advertised as simply Lord of the Rings. Not Part 1, not Fellowship of the Ring, not even The Two Towers, just Lord of the Rings, all in one movie. Both newcomers and fans of the books were furious, to the point where when it was released on DVD, a longer narration made it very clear this was part 1, despite there never being a part 2.
So too ends the first great tale of The Lord of the Rings.
The thought was folks wouldn't pay to see only one half of a movie, not knowing they'd be even more pissed if they were straight up lied to.
Huh, so the film was such a disappointment they never made a sequel.
Not exactly. Rankin Bass, the people who made the animated Hobbit, also made an animated Return of the King. It's completely different in style, but it does wrap up the story if anyone wanted to see an animated ending.
But nevertheless, the film bombed so hard no one would dare dream to make another.
Actually, despite the hate it gets, it was a financial success.
What?
In fact, it inspired other adaptations of Lord of the Rings, including a popular radio production that even brought in some of the actors from the film. The sequel wasn't made because so many people were pissed off at it, and Bakshi eventually had a falling out with the producers.
Well, whatever, as long as people hate it.
Well, there's certainly many of those, but I really feel like something's being lost by completely dismissing it. Bakshi's film is like a rustic, beautiful mug, compared to Jackson Films, which is like a polished, highly manufactured, beautiful mug. Yes, one is technically better made and has fewer flaws, but there's still admirable artistry and effort put into the flawed one. They're both impressive works in their own right. Jackson even took inspiration from Bakshi's film, lifting some scenes directly from this version and even ending Two Towers at the same point, despite the book not ending there. The film is also reportedly what got Jackson into the Lord of the Rings books. And I'll admit, the same can be said for me. When I saw this film, it was unlike any other animated film I'd ever seen. I immediately wanted to know more about this world and was blown away that a realistic style very similar to Disney could be taken so seriously for adults. When I did read the books, I was more amazed at how much was the same as opposed to how much was left out. Remember, adaptations back then took even more liberties than films today. There was no internet yet for fans to complain about the differences. And, maybe because we do have other film versions now, it is growing a bit of a fan base. You see it referenced in things like South Park, and people are digging it as kind of the grindhouse version of the epic story. It's the low-budget take that probably bit off more than it could chew, but it's such an artistic mouthful. Look, I get people who don't like it, I really do. Its problems are very obvious. But to dismiss the entire film of having no value is to ignore some brilliant artistry, wonderful acting, and stylistic storytelling. It's flawed, but even its flaws have a strange kind of beauty to them. So, if you want to see an interpretation that's not perfect, but still engagingly unique, this is one of the most artistically pleasing adaptations you'll ever see.
Well, I totally agree.
Really?
No, I just don't want Bakshi to go insane again.
Well, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always insane. With the weather vane spin, alas, it's time to leave.
Wait, Bakshi! Will you ever return?
When the wind changes, dear lad. When the wind changes.
Why then?
It's intentionally vague. That way I can come back whenever.
So long, Ralph Bakshi. Don't stay away too long.
I do whatever I want, you Nixon voting crypto fascist! Oh, I lost my Tamor.
Oh my!